I just want to show you a couple things on GeoGebra. I kind of tried to spell it out on this handout in that opening paragraph. But you open up, you're going to be doing an investigation on your own, but I just want to show you a few things. And if you're using like the tablet or the Mac version, I think the buttons are a little bit different. But basically, when you open it up, you get this screen. If you just want the geometry screen, like a blank screen, you go over here on this teeny little triangle on the right, and you select geometry, okay? And then it just turns into a blank screen. Just watch for a minute, and then you guys will have time to work. And then when you construct a line, it says select line, select 2 points. You could either start by making 2 points, or you can just make a line. So you make a line and you go like this, okay? And there's automatically 2 points on the line, right? But it says make line AB, right? So you want to make a line specifically. You have to make these specific points on it. Otherwise, it won't match up the stuff that I have you doing on the back page. So you have to make sure that all the letters are the same and all that stuff. So the way you change the letters, you grab this arrow tool, or you make them, and you double click on it. So whenever you select something, you have to make sure you're on the arrow tool, because if you're on the point tool, it's going to make a point. And if you're on the line tool, it's going to make a line, and so on. So once I have my arrow tool up here, I double click on this, boom, boom, and then this little window comes up. And I'll say Object Properties, okay? And this other window comes up. It's kind of a pain. And you click Show Label, and up here in the top, it says A, right? And so that means that that point is called point A. And there you go. And then you double click on this point. And it'll say Object Properties, and you want that to be called B. If it's got the wrong letter, you could go in there and change that to anything you want. Okay, so that's, whoops, I didn't change it. Object Properties. You have to go Show Label, okay, to make sure that point B shows up. And then you should be able to drag that line around, okay, and it stays a line and stuff like that. And then I ask you to, I'm just going to do the parallel line, and then I'll have you guys play on your own, okay? Then it says draw a point C. So this is the point tool up here. And you make a point anywhere you want. And I'm going to call that point C. So again, you have to get the arrow tool, double click on it, and call Object Properties, call it point C. I wish there was some way, there probably is a way to set it up so that it's always shows the label, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. Still work in progress. And then whenever, make sure when you're playing in here that when you're trying to do something that you deselect everything first. And the way you deselect something is making sure you're on the arrow and you click in the white space, okay? So the first thing they ask you to do is to make a line parallel to line AB through point C, okay? So the way you do that is you go to, you click on point C, you go to this tool, which says perpendicular line, but below it, there's parallel line. See that? Okay. Click on that, and then you click on the line and the point, and then that will make a parallel line. Okay? And then no matter how you drag these two, those lines stay parallel. Isn't that cool? Okay? And then you could kind of drag this around, and it's based on the fact that you made these lines parallel, so then they're always going to be parallel. Just the last thing they ask you to do is draw a line from here to here. So to do that, you just get your line tool, line, and you go from here to make sure those highlights, see how it lights up when you get to that point, click on there. And now you have what's called the transversal. So now when you drag this stuff, it all stays together. Oh, the last thing, and then they're going to ask you to put a bunch of points on these lines and label them. And then when you measure an angle, what I figured out is you always have to go in a clockwise direction. Okay, otherwise it measures the outside angle. So if I want to measure this angle, for instance, this one right here, okay, angle A, but this inner angle right here, you click on the angle tool. First you make sure you're not selected. You click on the angle tool, and then you click in order, clockwise. This direction is clockwise, right? The way a clock goes. If you went this way, it's going to measure the wrong thing. So you have to go in a clockwise direction. So I'm going to go point B, then the vertex, then point C, and it's going to measure that little angle. The other thing that's kind of nice to do is to get your arrow tool, and you could drag that measurement over here somewhere so it's easier to see. Okay? And then you'll be able to move this thing around and see how that angle changes. But basically what you're supposed to do is measure all 8 of those angles in there, okay, and see how they're related. And then on the back side, you say these angles are called this. They're either congruent or they're supplementary, and that's what you're filling in on this chart, okay? So I'm going to let you guys play and see if you can figure that stuff out, okay? And then like 10 minutes before the period is over, we'll kind of talk about it, and I'll give you the conjecture sheets and stuff like that. All right? All right. And if you have any questions, it's better if you use a computer rather than a phone. That way I don't think you're playing up on your cell phone. And if you want to pair up with someone, you can. Okay? All right.
Still later, figured out how to put a label on the phone.
Oh, how?
Just hold, well, not sure if you do the same on a laptop. I just hold the dot.
Ooh, let me try that.
I don't know where I went. For A and B.
So if I make a point, oops. So may I want to make a point? Sorry, I'm making a mistake. And if I click on it and hold it, that didn't work. Didn't work for me. Label. I don't know. Okay. Options. Labels. All new objects. I think I got it. Ah!
Oh, you did.
I figured it out. So if you go up here, if you go to options and you go to labeling and you select, you go up to options and you go to labeling, I would go new points only. New points only. And then if you click on that, every time you put a point on here, it's going to label that point. And if you need to change the label, that's where you could double click and go to object properties and change how you label that point. Get it? Okay? So again, go to options, labeling, and new points only. That will label all your points. See? It's fun. You get to learn stuff. Oh, I love this stuff. Okay. You guys got it figured out? You don't have a computer? It's kind of hard with the... You don't have a computer? You have a computer? What? guys all have computers. Is yours working on the phone?
Yeah, it works.
Hey, cool. You did it. You got it. Ashley's got it figured out. You got it figured out, right? Figured out there, Emma? Okay, so you gotta make it transversal. You gotta make a line that, the important thing is making that transversal so that it cuts through those other. Oh, cool. So you figure out which angles are the same and then so you have to go to flip it over and say, make sure your labels are the same as the labels I have on that sheet. Okay. Let me make sure I have the same labels as you do. My labels are way up. DC. I want to call this point. Where's point up? Can I move a point? Yeah, move. DC. I'm going to put a point up here. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I did it. So that's basically what your picture should look like when you get done, right, with those points. Not too hard. And then you want to measure all the angles. Questions? Got it figured out? Graphics, maybe geometry. Just double click on it. Turn it over.
Oh, download the app.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, no, because what thing is that? Oh, I'm still recording. Oh, shoot. I'm recording nothing for 13 minutes. Whoops, I should be recording. Then we had corresponding angles, which what we've been working on. If you have parallel lines and you have a line cutting them, that's called a transversal. And a pair of corresponding angles would be like angle 1 here and angle 2 over here. What's true about those two angles that you guys discovered in your lab that we just did? What's true about angle 1 and angle 2? Those are congruent, okay? So you should have figured out that angle 1 and 2, angle 1 and angle 2. That is only true if these lines are parallel, okay? So you should have figured that out. Am I going too fast? You're okay? And then let me get a clean slate here. Can I clean this up? You can't see? You can't see? You could kind of slide over. Alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles, that's the next one. Let me see if I could grab a photo of this, okay? Please capture new page. Alternate interior angles. Okay, so if I have something that looks, if I have parallel lines, two parallel lines, this and this, I'm going to tell you these are parallel. They're only parallel if they're marked as parallel. And then alternate interior angles are ones like 1 and 2, or 3 and 4. So angle 1 and 2. What's true about those two? 1 and 2. What do you guys figured out? Congruent. By looking at, you should have figured that out on your sketch pad. Angle 3 and angle 4. Congruent. Okay, congruent. You should have figured that out using GeoGebra. Okay? Can I move on? Alternate interiors. Interior, right? Inside the lines and alternating. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? So that was C3B. Then we had C3, the next one, which was, where is it? Alternate exterior angles. So alternate exterior angles, those are ones that if I have parallel lines and a transversal, and these are parallel, only if they're parallel, like 1 and 2, okay, or 3 and 4. And what's true about those, 1 and 2? Congruent again, right? Congruent. And is that it? Is that it? Congruent. Next thing we talk parallel lines. If two, so in this one here, this just kind of summarizes all three of those things in one statement. It says that if two lines are cut by a transversal, then the corresponding angles are congruent, alternate interior angles are congruent, and alternate exterior angles are also congruent. Okay? So everything, all those pairs are congruent, and that's C3. And the very last thing says, that's the converse. That's the last exploration, the thing on the exploration that you're working on right there. The converse is if you switch these things around. If two lines are cut by a transversal to form pairs of congruent corresponding angles, congruent alternate interior angles, and alternate exterior angles, then what's true about the lines? They are parallel, right? So that's what, it's kind of like this. If I were to draw a picture of it, okay, and if I know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, if I say that if angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, then we'll call this line L and line M. Then line L is parallel to M. Do you understand what I just said? So this is the converse of that. You switch around the if and then part. If the alternate interior angles are congruent, or the exterior angles, or the corresponding angles, then those lines would have to be parallel. Okay? So that's the converse of that statement. And then I have one example for you, and then you should be able to do the homework. So, you're okay? Am I going too fast? So say I have a picture that looks like this. Let me get a picture of blank piece of paper. So I have a picture that looks, we have 5 minutes, just chill. Okay? I have a picture that looks like this. I have this. I have, where's this going? This is going like this. I tell you that this angle here is 90 degrees. And I tell you that this angle here is 60 degrees. And then I do this. Can you find the measures of every single angle here? You should be able to. What's this angle? 120, right here. I'll do it in different color. Okay? This angle would have to be 120 because those are supplementary. What's this angle have to be? 120. What's this angle got to be? 60. If this is 90, what's this? 90, right? 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. What's this one right here? Vertical angle. 120. What's this angle right here? 60. What's this angle right here? 60. What's this angle? 120. And probably if you know the sum of the angles of a triangle, you can figure out that one too, but we're not quite going there yet. Okay? Yeah, I know most of you know that that would have to be 30, but we're not going to that one yet. Okay? We're good? And then you should be able to complete your homework, which is on Schoology, okay? And I'd like you to try to finish up that investigation and turn it in